On this week's podcast,
I talk about the first mission to Mars. My ass! The first fucking mission to Mars. It's more about a drug-addled daughter. I don't give a flying fuck about drug-addled daughters. I want to see a mission to Mars.
I talk about the future of video games via Shadow Cloud Gaming.
And I want to see a future mission to fucking Mars.
We talk about Henry Cavill playing The Witcher and leaving Superman.
You would have seen him go to fucking Mars.
And we end with a somber note about Article 13.
Fuck it, I am going to Mars. Stay tuned.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, gamers, geezers, and tennis aficionados alike. We've just spent an hour and a half arguing over tennis. Welcome to this week's Monkey Nut Punch podcast, which won't be about tennis. I swear. And for the minus third time this year,
just fuck off.
Keith. I'm not joking. We have spent an hour and a half arguing about tennis. It's been quite good. It was a really good conversation. Unfortunately, it's one of those conversations that we're not willing to share. Maybe in the future we might get a bit more raw and share some of these heated debates that me and Keith have as we're yelling at each other. But I think we both come across as a little unreasonable at times. And it's weird because we always start off unreasonable and then we quieten down and then we reach an actual point. It's the bit where we reach the point is the interesting thing, because we start giving way to each other's arguments, saying, well, you've got a point there and I've got a point there. But this week's podcast, we'll be talking about The 1st, which is, I'm assuming, is the first mission to Mars. Is that right, Keith? Because it's your topic.
Well, kind of.
Okay. I want to be talking about the Shadow Cloud game streaming service that I started this month. And we want to talk about Henry Cavill for both The Witcher and the Superman nonsense that's been going on. And then, after we finish, we will have a small section on what the European Union has done to fuck up the internet.
I want to add one topic. Sorry, I'm adding a surprise gotcha topic at the end. Well, there was an Apple event this week, and I really want to slate it for once.
I believe everyone I've looked has slated it, so we'll save that right towards the end. Okay, so let's get on with the first mission, which apparently is the first mission to Mars, or it's a really stealthy chance to get rid of Sean Penn by firing him at the Red Planet.
Actually, Sean Penn is probably the best thing in this, but right. So I've seen some reviews this week about it, and because I saw the trailer, and I thought, because I love The Martian. I love the book The Martian. In fact, I'm obsessed with anything in space because I'm a sci-fi nut, but I'm also obsessed with actual space exploration and stuff. I've watched everything there fucking is to watch on the moon landings, and I'm a big fan of a miniseries that was made just after the Apollo 13 came out. It was Tom Hanks and Steven Spielberg producing. So it was the same guys that did what was the army thing they did after
Band of Brothers?
Band of Brothers. It's the same people, right? They did a 13-part sort of docudrama series called Journey from Earth to the Moon, and it was all it went right from the beginning of all the sort of original space missions up until the moon. So the Galileo missions, and then over to the Apollo missions and blah blah blah. And it was really fucking good. And I thought this was what the first was going to be, that kind of vein, that kind of hopeful inspiration thing, something that we're massively lacking a lot of on TV at the moment. I mean, and it really fucking isn't. And the reviewers didn't exactly have to come up with clever puns this week, because a lot of them are, the first never quite gets off the ground, and all the, the really unoriginal puns. And they're absolutely fucking correct. Gareth, I am 7 episodes in, right, of an 8-episode series. They have not left Earth. And this is about the first mission to Mars. And it plays all that sort of inspirational music you got in the Earth journey. And there's inspirational speeches. They're still on fucking Earth. I haven't even seen the fucking spaceship they're going in yet, and it's 7 episodes in. It's so concerned with Sean Penn and his drug-ass daughter, and that is, about human relationships. Why don't you make a human relationships fucking drama then? Because this has fuck all to do with somebody landing on Mars, and I'm really angry about it. Because I thought, oh, cool, an inspirational drama about the first mission to Mars. Awesome. Yeah. 7 episodes in. 7 fucking episodes. An entire episode about why his wife killed herself. Oh, I'm so upset. Because, I'm angry about it because I missold something and I'm fucked off about it. And if I was paying for Hulu, whatever it is streaming,
Hulu,
fucking money back.
Fucking Hulu,
whatever it's a stupid fucking name.
Do you want to hear something funny? It's space related and might cheer you up a little bit. No Interstellar.
Yes.
Yeah. Did you know that the original draft of Interstellar, when Matthew McConaughey lands on, I think it's the planet which Matt Damon's on. Matt Damon's not supposed to be on the planet. It's supposed to be occupied by a load of Chinese robots. Because China got there first 50 years before, and the robots built the facility and they all died out. That would have been really interesting. And it sounds a damn sight more interesting than Sean Penn.
See, this is what's really pissing me off, because there's this other thing. I mean, I don't know if you've seen there's 2 trailers to it now. The First Man, it's called, about Neil Armstrong. And it's another one, and both trailers, serious, I know I say this a lot, right? But it's true about a lot of television at the moment. It's fucking depressing. It's fucking depressing. And this about man's greatest achievement, it's fucking depressing, right? This whole fucking thing debate about the fact that the film about Neil Armstrong refused to put a scene in where he plants the flag on the moon because God knows what, they've got some artistic bullshit reason why they didn't do it. Fuck off, right? One of the most inspirational moments of human history, and we're not going to show it because it's an American flag. Fuck off. Seriously, that pisses me off.
That's offensive.
That offends me.
Hang on a second. In the Neil Armstrong thing, did they show the thing where he was a test pilot and he crashed the plane? And he got out of the plane and back to his office so quickly and started filling out the reports to say what went wrong.
They show that there is a clip of what I think is that incident in the film. But seriously, if you haven't seen the trailers to it, it's so depressing. It's using arty-farty fucking dour music. It's dour. There's no other way of saying it. If the word dour had just been invented, it would adequately sum up the trailers to The First Man and this piece of shit that they're calling inspirational drama. It's bollocks. There's one inspirational speech in it, in everything. It's got the music. It's just they're still on fucking Earth and he's still talking to his drug-induced daughter. What the fuck?
Have you ever heard the JFK speech about going to the moon?
Yes.
It's fucking great.
Yes,
it's one of the greatest speeches ever.
The journey to Earth to the moon, the bit where he goes, we do this not because it's easy, but because it's hard. Right? That is in the opening credits of every single one of those episodes. And that's my point. What I wish this had been like that, because we need something like that on TV at the moment. We need something that brings us together and goes, yeah. And it's not just about Americans. Yeah, okay, the Americans landed on the moon, but these people that are fucking banging on about the fact, we're not going to show them planting an American flag because it'll be offensive. Well, bullshit. It's not an American flag. He planted, a man walked on the fucking moon. I don't care if he came from fucking Pakistan, fucking wherever. I don't care what flag it was that was planted. A fucking man walked on the moon and planted a flag. It is one of the most important things in human history. We're not going to put it in this bloody film. What the fuck?
So this is. I may bring up the argument we had 20 minutes before the podcast.
You would agree with me on this.
I agree with you. Because
we're not even going to argue about this one.
They're assuming they're making the assumption that someone will watch that and be offended. They're assuming their thoughts.
I think that's the real reason, because he planted an American flag on the moon. I don't give
So
a
what?
fucking. It could have been.
British.
It could have. I mean, short of planting the SS flag on the moon, okay, I could see the point. But I don't care what the flag was.
But
I really don't. I don't care if it was the Monster Raving Loony fucking party's flag that they planted on the moon. It was a human being being able to plant a flag on the moon. And this entire film has missed that rather large point.
Just on another note, you told me a story, and I know it turned out not to be true. It was one of those things that was brought up on QI about Buzz Aldrin's neighbour, where Buzz Aldrin's neighbour is arguing with his wife, yeah, and she turns around and says, "I'll give you a blowjob," yeah, when the kid next door lands on the fucking moon. Yeah. It's not true. I just really wish it was, because he's supposed to say "Good luck, Mr. Whatever." Just before he sets down and puts his foot on the moon.
And the first is very much, again, in this vein. I don't understand it. I don't understand. The guy that made this is the guy behind House of Cards. It's made in conjunction with Channel 4. So at some point it's going to be made, it's going to air on Channel 4. And there are some very interesting things in it. The technology that they're using in it is very interesting. And I think they're bang on the money when it comes to the technology, like the world that they've crafted. So there are several scenes where they all have smart glasses, and they put these glasses on and you get this AR thing, and they use them a lot. And a lot of people are using them, and they come in different styles and stuff. And the way they put them on, there's one thing I'm not so sure will catch on quite the way they're perceiving, and that's voice commands of everything. So like, you'll go end call to end a call. So you won't actually have a physical device. It'll be something somewhere. And you'll go, open call or end call. I can't, and the other person will hear you saying that. I don't see that. Voice commands, even now, voice technology is quite caught on in our homes, but you don't see people doing it in public. And I'm not sure that'll catch on. But the glasses, the AR glasses thing, I think is very much something that will be in our future. That's quite interesting. Self-driving cars are in it a lot. But apart from that, and apart from a CGI cartoon of their intention of how they're getting to the moon, and Andy Weir, you really should be suing this program, because they blatantly nicked everything from you. He nicked it from NASA. Oh, it's exactly the same. It's the Martian mission. So in The Martian, they have a big ship which takes you to Mars. So, and then you have a ship that lands you on Mars, and then you have something called a MAV, which is pre-flown to Mars and is sitting on Mars making fuel. But it's called the MAV. They even call it the MAV. In fact, the entire mission is exactly what The Martian dictates. In the film, it touches on it. In the book, it's far more detailed. If you want to read a really fucking good book, read The Martian. Fucking amazing.
Read The Expanse first.
Yeah, The Expanse is sci-fi. This is science fact. This
is not science fact. It's sci-fi too. It's only fact when it gets put in place, and actually probably the technology will be out of date by the time we get around to
the technology in The Martian. We technically have now almost all of that technology, and we do have a deep space network. So even that's there. I mean, we've got satellites around Mars constantly monitoring Mars. Most of the technology you see in The Martian. If we had the money, we could put a man on Mars next year. Well, maybe the year after, but we could. If there was enough money, we have the technology now to do it. And a lot of it is just money.
See, I would. This is what I want from like a Mars story. Yeah, I would want it that there is a race to Mars. Yeah, so America versus China, just for as an example. Yeah, and they launch, so it's pretty much fucking neck and neck. But something goes wrong with the Chinese one, and the Americans rescue them. Yeah, but the Americans turn around and say, "We land first." That's our condition for rescuing you. We land first.
Even something like that would have been better than this bullshit. I mean, seriously, Sean Penn, and don't get me wrong, his acting is amazing in this, and his interactions with his daughter you really buy it. I mean, his acting is amazing.
Yeah, but
it's just 7 fucking episodes of it. And, I mean, they had one... Go on.
So, hang on. Let me get this right. You're telling me that the story of the first mission to Mars is not about the first mission to Mars, but a father dealing with his drug-addled daughter.
That and because the setup is basically, which is I think how we'll end up going to Mars, is that NASA have basically a SpaceX style company has the contract to build all the I suppose the hardware to send man to Mars, right? The Elon Musk-esque character is actually a woman. But it works, and in this case, I understand why it is a woman, and it's believable. It's played by the woman that was the wife in the Kiefer Sutherland president thing, which was it? I can't remember what it was called.
Designated Survivor.
Yeah, right. Because she got killed off halfway through season 2 because she got this. So it's about
got a better job. Bye.
It's about her as well. And she's quite interesting. They insinuate that she's autistic, but she does the way she bats off it because there's a bit where she's been interviewed by a journalist. You see, here's the thing, right? There are elements of this would work, but there's no inspiration here, and they haven't even left. Seriously, right? Okay, make it a multi-arc season, but at least give me, at least like in the 5th or 6th episode, have them blast off. And then maybe they get like a fraction of the way there and the ship has a problem and we have to see people fixing that. There's none of that really, except there is a beeline story running where the MAV has developed a malfunction and effectively they can't communicate with it. And they think they figured out a way of doing it by sending the rover essentially drilling into a cable and shorting the computer system so it'll reboot, right? That's really interesting. But you only keep getting, there's only glimpses of it because it's so fucking concerned about his drugging daughter. I don't give a flying fuck. I want to watch something about the first mission to Mars. I don't care if his daughter's shooting up heroin. There's nothing to do with that. If I want to watch a drama about that, I'll go and watch a drama about that. But this was billed and sold as the first mission to Mars.
Okay. All right.
Can you tell I'm pissed about it?
Do you know,
because I've been looking forward to this, and it's just not. It's 7 episodes. Do you know when they finally start on their way to Mars? The final minute of the final fucking episode. What the fuck? We don't even see them landing on Mars. And they won't, I can guarantee you, they won't be planting, because it's this type of drama, they won't be planting a US flag, even though it's NASA.
Do you know, I used to take the piss out of the Americans for putting their flags everywhere. Because it was like kind of, what do you think you might wander into another nation all of a sudden? But believe it or not, I actually liked it. It was something quite unique to the Americans. Because us, yeah, we're British, yeah. Oh, we don't need to do no flags because we're fucking awesome enough as it is. But the Americans, they need that. And I liked that about America. It's one of those little quirky things that was quite nice.
You ask anybody that was alive when the first moon landing happened, ask them what they thought when they saw that flag being planted. Ask them. I bet not many of them will say, oh, it was an American flag, fucking Americans. Bullshit. People were standing there absolutely fucking flabbergasted that they were watching a man walk on a different fucking planet to us, be it a moon. It was still not Earth.
It's no moon, Keith.
Live on the TV. live on the TV. Bullshit. They saw a US flag.
All right.
Bullshit.
Okay. It's silly people. Can I talk about my Shadow Gaming now?
Yes, this thing looks awesome.
It is fucking awesome. I'm going to share my screen. I'm hoping the connection will hold up so I can actually demonstrate this live on the podcast. A audio medium. showing Keith something visual because I want to maybe I can get an ooh, ah, or some kind of reaction out of the boy. Where's my screen share button?
Effectively, you have some very clever remote desktop software that remotes into a gaming machine, and then you install all your games on it. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's put that
so
on
for
screen.
whatever amount of money a month, you do not have. I'm looking at myself slightly delayed, which is really.
That's fine.
Weird.
That's fine. That means it's working. Okay. Now I've got to take out a bloody full screen. Hold on. Pop you back here.
Says he's got a technical mind.
Technical mind. Shut off. Right. Okay. So. Quit. No. Oh, still there?
That icon does look a bit like a desktop.
That's because it's my desktop. So what it does is I started this app. Yeah, this is from Blade, and they have they call it the Shadow Gaming Cloud. And I start it up, and I log into a problem. What's that?
Running Windows 10.
I can't play games on Mac, you cock end. All right, and it brings me into this virtual desktop, which has lost my wallpaper, which is annoyed at. But it allows me to play games on fucking Ultra. So I've only got a few games that can how can I put it? Break free from passwords. That's an advert from fucking thing. So, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Can you see the screen? Because what it is you log into this thing remotely. You have to be near the server, which for me I think is just over the channel. And connect to it. Now, I found when I was starting it up originally, I was playing through my games and I was getting stutters and stuff on it, and that's because I had it on Wi-Fi. Now, I had it on Wi-Fi and I could do 50 megabytes a second back and forth, which is great. But every time my son used his tablet or my wife used a phone, it would interfere with it. Not good at all. Oh God, this is going to be loud.
This thing effectively, it's going to need it to.
Yeah, but this is the weird thing. This is the weird thing with it. It's the guys when they were putting it together found that the bottleneck was coming from casting the screen to my screen.
Yeah,
the input lag and everything. So they came up with a way of coding it to make it work better. So it's you've got all these things, but I was finding on it that when I was using the general settings, I was playing a game like Fallout 4. And it was showing me, it was like a ashy look, yeah? So it had an ashy look. So I had to tell the coder to use a different coder to encode the screen so it didn't have an ashy look on it. But it's I'm playing this, and I'll be honest with you, you can't see it. But I'm switching on my Fallout 4 because I've got that at the moment. I've got all the settings switched up to max. There is a very, very, I'm talking a very slight lag, but you'd only pick it up on twitchy games like Call of Duty.
You're not going to use this for serious, competition gaming, but for playing through games you do, this looks great.
Yeah, it's
You see, you can't see this at home, ladies and gentlemen, but I'm watching from halfway around the bloody world. I'm watching his mouse movements, and the screen's just moving with the mouse.
Yeah.
So I can't see any lag.
There's a bit of screen tearing at the moment, but that's probably because I'm trying to share it to yours.
Well, it's probably not help. Yeah, we're running Skype. Skype on a fucking Mac is a memory fucking CPU
and we've got it.
Whore.
Hang on a second, and I've also got it on. It's on Wi-Fi too.
Well, there you go.
And this is where the problem comes in. But when I put it on my LAN cable, because I'm using a power adapter, I'll just close that down. Because I'm using a power adapter, it stabilizes the connection. I get 20 megabit connection, even though it's a 500 meg adapter, which is really annoying, and I have to figure out how to increase the speed because I plug and went.
Where's your router?
But it's a router. Well, I can't get it close to my router. That's why I got a power cable adapter. Otherwise, I'd be running the cable if it was close to my router.
We could run a cable.
Yeah.
You just have to drill through your walls. That's all.
I'm drilling through fucking walls. But it's really. I was not impressed when I had it on Wi-Fi But the moment I dropped it onto the wireless connection, the connection for streaming these games to my Mac, because I'm a Mac owner, and playing Windows games on a Mac isn't quite right. But streaming it on cable, all the problems went away, and the graphics, mate, I can dial it up. I have to find all the settings, because you switch it to Ultra, it doesn't set it to Ultra. You have to find some additional settings to put it to Ultra. And I can do that, and I'm getting about 40 to 60 frames a second, depending on the game.
Fuck. That's impressive.
It is impressive, and I've been using it. The downside at the moment is I've got loads of games to play on my fucking PS4 at the moment, because I'm going to get Spider-Man.
Yeah, I'm trying to resist buying that, but I think I'm going to have to. Spider-Man does look kind of fucking awesome.
It does, and that's annoying because it's like shit. So I might set this up. They allow you to back up. I think they allow you to back up your device. So if you do come off of it and you want to come back, and you want to reload all the stuff onto it using the backup, it allows you to do that. Hang on a second, which I think is good. So it's like where I'll probably stop playing it when I play Spider-Man for a month and a bit, and then I'll come back to it. Because it's not, you don't get a fixed thing. Because I paid £16 for my first one. I have a code. I'll put the code in the description of the in the podcast. So if you want to get a tenner off of trying it, you can try it just to give it a whirl. Because it's for £16 a month, just for 1 month, just to try it. Let's see if it's any good. It's worth it. It's really weird though, because you're streaming the game, but you're playing it remotely, and
honestly,
cool.
I think within the next 4 to 5 years, that might become the norm.
I think that too.
The technology is getting. I mean, it's interesting. I haven't banged on about this much after the Mavic Air release. DJI have just released a new drone, right? And the reason I'm using this is because the Pro version of the Mavic 2 series uses the H.265 codec. Now, the H.265 codec is very much in its infancy, and all these dickheads that keep buying this drone banging on about superior image quality, and they're all running like 2-year-old Windows 10 PCs. I have got a fucking $3,500 laptop, right? That is less than 2 years old. It's a year and a half old. It has one of the fastest core i7s at the time, and it's got 16 gig RAM and really fast SSD. That barely handles H.265 images, right? But that codec, when it is condensed, is incredibly small, and it is exactly what Netflix are going to start using. In fact, they reckon within a year, H.265 will be able to stream 6K movies. 6K movies.
They only really do 5. So I don't think
current broadband speeds.
Wow.
Now, if you can do that, game streaming, it's nearly there.
The streaming, they say that the streaming lag on it is 2 milliseconds to 15 milliseconds.
That's pretty fucking impressive.
That is, and I think it's 15 milliseconds on 4K.
And are they operating in the States?
They're operating on the States, but they're only doing the coastal areas.
Yeah,
it's the European companies.
I'm wondering how they're going to deal with net neutrality, because that's going to be using some serious fucking bandwidth.
I'm going to check to see how much bandwidth it is using. But it's nice because I get to play the games on ultra settings and stuff, and it doesn't heat up my PC. It doesn't heat up my Mac, sorry, because it's only streaming it, so it's only seeing the image, which is really cool. But it's got things here. So look, I can create a copy here, or I can create a snapshot. Yeah, go snapshot where my thing is. So I can create it, and I can save it, and then I can come back to it.
I wonder how they're doing that snapshot technology, because snapshots is a bitch. I learned the hard way this week at work. 3 fucking days to remove a snapshot.
There was.
If any of you are listening in IT, you'll know my pain.
Yeah, well, they now have to do a snapshot.
The backup fucking software that did it. It tried to take a snapshot of a snapshot. Figure that out.
Yeah.
Um,
But
anyway,
yeah, it's cool. As I said, I'll put the code and the link in the description. Check to see if you're available for it. Give it a go.
Yeah,
I think it may be the future. Just do it. I recommend just do it for a short period of time.
I'm
to see if
absolutely
you're...
convinced it's going to be the future. I think you will get the serious hardcore gamers that go to LAN parties that will hold out, but I don't think the technology is there yet for them, but I think it's near. I mean, the more I read about new encryption algorithms, you look at the potential of this new H.265 codec and what it will eventually be able to do, and you're like, yeah, game streaming is the way forward. I think the PS5 might be the last full-blown console we ever see.
Yeah.
Because I think it's going to turn into a subscription service. That's what everybody wants, because that's how they're going to make money.
It's not, as I say, it's not using the H.265 codec. Because there's an option here for me to switch it on.
Yes, there is, but
so I don't know what codec they're using. So yeah.
Well, there you go. They're even beginning to use the H.265 codec. I mean, but I'll tell you what, working with it, when you're working with raw 4K footage shot on the H.265, fuck, my Mac was... I downloaded some sample footage of this drone before I made the decision which one I was going to get. And it was like, fuck. I mean, my Mac's powerful. I mean, I topped it up. It's got the fastest GPU. It's got all of that bugs, but it was fucking straining with that footage. It really was. And I mean, I was just playing around with a little bit of color grading.
But you've got the thermal throttling problem, I bet.
No, I haven't. No, because I've got the 2016. No, I didn't go and I wouldn't spend that kind of money on the 2018 thing, because, you know, a $1,500 laptop kind of outperforms it. But that's before anybody think, this is one thing that pisses me off about YouTube. By the way, the thing that affects the MacBook Pro affects every fucking laptop with that processor in it, because that processor is too fucking fast for a laptop environment. That's the truth. They have not designed a thermal cooling system that has caught up with the sheer speed and heat that processor generates. Core i9s should not yet be in laptops. The technology to support them is just not there yet. It's just Apple were the one that made a song and dance about it. But Dell have got the exact same problem as of HP, and Lenovo, because we've got a Lenovo at work with an i9 in it, and it does exactly the fucking same thing. It just they just can't handle there's nothing that can adequately cool it. I mean, okay, stick it in a fucking box of liquid nitrogen, it might be fine, but might crack your screen.
All right, okay. So let's Henry Cavill.
Right. So yeah, this week, the Hollywood Reporter, which usually
as good as the Latino Review.
Yes,
I'll have you know.
But they usually are on the money on this. So basically, this week it would appear that Henry Cavill and Warner Brothers have parted ways, and Henry Cavill will no longer be the DC Superman.
But please note, we have no official confirmation.
This isn't official, but the statement that Warner Brothers put out, they didn't exactly deny it, and they didn't exactly confirm it either. It was one of those non-plus things, which makes me think there's too many details in the rumor for something not to have happened. But basically, Henry Cavill was meant to have a cameo in the up-and-coming Shazam movie, and they were in contract negotiations for him to appear in that film. And those negotiations fell through, so Warner Brothers went, fine, fuck it, you're no longer our Superman. They were out of contract anyway. He'd appeared in all the films, so this was a contractual negotiation. He did not contractually have to appear in this film. And it would appear that they have parted ways. Which, it's kind of sad, but it's not Henry Cavill's fault. And this is part of what I think is a larger problem, because at the moment, the DCEU is an utter fucking mess. And because they've got movies that are still supposedly set, like Wonder Woman 1984, which is their only successful DCEU movie, about to come up, and they've got Aquaman, which loads of people think looks amazing, but I think Gareth and you and me agree. When we looked at that trailer, we just went, "What? It looks shit." But
I liked the way the Black Manta looked in it. That was about it, I think.
Yeah, but that's it looked like Black Manta lifted straight from the comics.
Yeah. That was the one thing I did genuinely like when I watched that. Was like, oh, that looks like Black Manta. That's how I'd have him.
But we don't have a lot of trust. Having said that, Shazam does look good. But here's the thing. The Hollywood Reporter, a day or two later, again, not officially confirmed, but I think it's all thing, said they're going to recast him. So they're not resetting the DCEU. They're going to recast him. Then there has been stories about Michael B. Jordan playing him. Here's the thing, right? And I'm going to say this, and I don't give a flying fuck if somebody accuses me of being racist, because it has nothing to do with this.
You're racist.
Yeah, you can't recast a white guy with a black guy. He's not Doctor Who. It's Superman. You just can't.
Hey, right. Let me just get this straight, yeah? This is the equivalent, when it comes to recasting these things, yeah? Of coming home to find that your parents are not your parents, but they're two clown-like creatures wearing the skin of your parents.
Except they're Chinese.
And it's just fucking creepy. And I don't sound rude or anything. Michael B. Jordan's done this racial swap thing before with Johnny Storm in Fantastic Four, and it didn't work out. I think what he should do is stick to Marvel. just stay in the Marvel universe, even though you're dead. Have the ghost of Killmonger come back.
It's a bit like that bloody Harry Potter thing with Hermione Granger. The play was billed as a sequel to the films. The play was billed as that. Hermione in the play is black. Now, Escape in the films, unless I missed something, Emma Watson is very much a white girl, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, hang on, right? I'm not. Look, we can have a debate about having a black Superman. This is not that debate. This is the fact that they're saying they are recasting the role still in the current DCEU. You can't have a suddenly change.
No, it does not work. No, it does not compute.
But here's the thing, you see, because I've got an opinion on this, right? The DCEU is a fucking mess, okay? They completely fucked up their characters. And I know other people have a different opinions, but I actually thought Ben Affleck as a older Batman had a lot of potential, and they fucked that up a treat. I think they deserved it because they cast Zack Snyder, who was always a controversial figure in the comic book world. He was never neutral. There were people that loved him, and there were people... He was Marmite. You either fucking loved him or you hated him. There were no people that were in the middle on the fucking Watchmen. You either love that movie or you fucking hate it. Right? There is no middle. So casting a guy like that to create your answer to Marvel was always a mistake, right from the offset. Here's what I think they should do now. I think Warner Brothers should spin off the DCEU. They should create a DC Studios, which they own, and they should appoint a boss of that. And that boss will be the Kevin Feige of DC. And then they should start with that. They should keep Wonder Woman, keep Aquaman, but just say, look, those films were rubbish, and continue with that. And just start. And then bring in a Superman. I'm really gutted that, because I actually think there were moments when Ben Affleck was on the screen, and there's a scene at the end of Suicide Squad where he's talking to what's her face, what was her name in the Arrowverse? The same one, the one that died, head of
Waller,
Amanda Waller, right? So the DCEU's Amanda Waller. So there's a scene at the end of that. That was really good. That scene with Affleck in it was really good. You go, ooh. There's some Affleck's older back. Well, this could be interesting. It was got quite a good dynamic there. And then Justice League came out. And again, there were moments in that film where you were thinking, I really see why they cast Affleck, and he could work. But then it got shit again because it had two different directors, and you really could tell because there were moments of fun and lightness which you knew were Joss Whedon, and everything else was fucking Zack Snyder. Like that fucking scene at the end between Henry Cavill and the Flash, that was blatantly Whedon. That was Zack Snyder had nothing to do with that, and that was probably one of the best scenes in the whole fucking film. It was a deleted cut scene at the end.
Okay.
And I think that's what they should do. I think all this bullshit about 3 or 4. How many fucking Joker movies are they making?
I don't know. I don't think they know. I really genuinely don't think they know.
We don't need another fucking Batman trilogy. Why? We've had Batman trilogies. If you want to do a Batman film, make The Dark Knight Returns with Affleck. It would work totally. That's what Batman versus Superman should have fucking been. Instead of my mum's mother, oh, your mum's mother, my mum's mother, oh, we're friends now. Which is that film in a nutshell.
I just love the bit in Deadpool where Cable punches him really hard and he goes, Martha!
There's one just before, there's another one just before his girlfriend gets shot where he says, oh, he told me his mother's name was Martha. He has several digs in that film against that scene.
It's the bit where he goes on Batman. Who are you? Because I'm Batman. Deadpool. You are so funny. Did you hear that Henry Cavill's supposed to be Geralt in the Witcher Netflix TV series?
That's what he's been cast, and that's why he was too busy to do this thing for Shazam. Because he wasn't contractually obligated to be in the film. He has no contract with them now. So effectively, they haven't fired him. They're just not renewing his contract.
Hang on. This is the worst bit, yeah? He has to grow a full beard for The Witcher.
You see, a lot of people diss Henry Cavill, but I think the guy's really funny. Have you ever watched... have you ever seen any of his Instagram?
No, I haven't seen...
He made this fucking hilarious video when he shaved off the Mission Impossible moustache. Like, he made this video all the time he'd spent with him and his tash and the moments they had shared. If you haven't seen this, it's fucking funny. And right at the end, he just boom, off it. It's very good. And you should see it. I like the guy. I quite like Henry Cavill, and I thought he was really good in Mission Impossible 6. Actually, if you haven't seen that,
everyone said good. That
Mission Impossible 6 is really good.
I went to the cinema last weekend and rewatched Ant-Man and the Wasp with a friend because he hadn't seen it. And I was like, I wanted to watch Mission Impossible. I went in there, I was like, I want to watch Mission Impossible. I like this. Actually, saying that, the second viewing of Ant-Man and the Wasp was actually better than the first viewing. I actually enjoyed it more the second time around, which was weird. And I'd really enjoyed... No, it's a lie. Deadpool, the first Deadpool I did, and the first Avengers I definitely did.
Deadpool 2, I watched recently, the uncut version with the Hitler as a baby scene at the end, which is fucking hilarious.
I love that, because I can't do this, but I know Cable, he can. That was great.
It's only controversial because of the world we live in at the moment, really. It's actually quite an innocent scene.
Yeah.
In a Deadpool kind of way.
True. Okay, alright. I'm going to really regret saying this. There was an Apple event on, and Keith had nothing to say about it.
Not really.
Next.
Don't buy an iPhone. iPhone, I'm sorry. You write an X, most people are going to call this iPhone XS, and it is an XS. It really fucking is. Not only to replace my phone, Gareth, get this. I have an iPhone 8 Plus. 256
Oh, naturally, it would be Plus for you.
Yeah, 256 gig memory, right? And it has double camera screens. So, in order to get something the equivalent of that phone, I'd have to get the XS Max. I guess how much that phone will cost me.
£1,099.
£1,250. On the upgrade program, I currently pay £48 a month to get this phone that supposedly is so much better than my phone, but it really fucking isn't, is £68 a month. The only thing that is better than my phone is it has an OLED screen, which every other fucking Samsung had for years. And that's about it. And there was this guy going on the Mavic forums the other day going, oh, I'm going to get my new iPhone XS. Do you think it'll fit in the controller? Why are you buying that phone? Oh, yeah, because it detects when you've fallen. No, it doesn't. That's the Watch Series 4. The most interesting product launched at that fucking thing. Those phones, fuck off. Any of you go and buy this phone, fuck off. Fuck you, you idiots. Go and buy an iPhone 10. They're a lot cheaper. It's exactly the same bloody phone.
Keith, thanks for alienating the audience.
Yep, sorry, you are. You're morons.
Look, I would have said this, yeah. Wait. Give it a month. Let some other one go first.
Do not
see if it's any good.
Buy this phone. It is ridiculously overpriced, and it's exactly the fucking same as the iPhone 10. Oh, it's got a faster processor in it. Like, anybody's going to notice that. Here's the thing. They banged on about how much faster processor it's got on it. Tell me how many people play games that truly use the phone's capabilities. I'm talking proper first-person shooters that they keep showing in these Apple events. Who actually does that?
Just a quick one. You know, with that Shadow thing I've got, I can play on my phone.
Yeah, but you're not using the phone's fucking hardware. You can play that on
No, I'm not using the phone's hardware. I just love the idea that I can play it on my phone.
Their justification is the hardware that's in the phone that most people that are buying this phone are going to barely use like 20% of it. And it takes amazing pictures. I've got a fucking Canon M6 that takes better pictures than an iPhone. And the blurry background, it does it properly with a proper lens. Okay, there is one feature on this phone as an amateur photographer that I went, that's pretty fucking interesting. I wish my camera would do that. But then you don't want your camera doing that because it would then have to be done by software and not optically. But you can effectively adjust the aperture after you've taken the picture.
Okay.
Which is pretty cool. That's it. That is the only thing watching that Apple event I went, wow. The Watch Series 4, that was interesting. Built-in ECG monitor and the ability to detect you when you fall. That has some interesting connotations with medical industries and things like that. Do I want to buy a Watch Series 4? No, I've got a Watch Series 3. And really, do I need an ECG monitor? No, I already know that, my part's probably not that great. But I can see a genuine industry use for that. And then Apple proceeded to tell us how green their phones were. And they said, we design our phones to last a long time. My iPhone 8 has lasted 8 months and I have to take it in for repair. And here's the thing. If you really want to be green, Apple, don't make a new phone. Don't make people upgrade their phone every year. Don't have an upgrade program where you can upgrade every year without any cost. If you're a green company, you wouldn't be doing that. So bullshit you care about in the environment. You care about selling phones and you're making them really expensive. And a lot of people are going to go and buy it because they're really fucking stupid. And this is somebody that's been accused of being an Apple fanboy saying this. Do not buy this phone. It's too expensive. It's ridiculous.
Sounds like an endorsement to me.
Yeah, more people are going to fucking buy it now, aren't they?
All right. Let's draw a line under this because we're going to get a bit political in a moment. So we're gonna end the regular podcast here, and if you want to carry on listening, just listen through the music at the end, and we'll move on to this thing.
Because he just likes to give me a fucking editing challenge because he's a fucker.
I was planning on something else to give you a really bad challenge, but Nigel wasn't here, so I couldn't do the joke that I was planning on doing. Yeah. Okay. Right. That's thank you very much for listening. If you want to hear the bits on articles 11 and 13, stay tuned. If not, thank you for listening. Switch the thing off. Avoid the politics.
Nigel will be back next week and he'll tell us about his new larder.
He's got a new car. The reason he's not with us this week is he's buying a new car. He's not bought a larder. I don't think Lada exists anymore.
He bought a Fiat 500 and he sees that as a people carrier.
Don't be silly.
He's so small, get it? So a Fiat 500 looks like a Ford Galaxy, whatever the fucking
and you're so big, and you had a Fiat 500.
Yeah, it was the best car I ever owned. You know what I mean?
It was like a fucking go-kart for you.
Yeah, and I love that car. I still do.
It didn't love you.
No.
You could hear every time you got it in. The car was on a permanent tilt.
No, that was a 2 cylinders, 3 cylinders. It was a twin air, 2 cylinders. That car. That's why it sounded. The noise that car. Oh, I love that car. I miss it. Really do miss it.
Anyway, goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me. Thanks for downloading the Monkey Nut Punch podcast. You can follow us on Twitter @Monkey Nut Punch. You can also find us on Facebook, facebook.com/Monkey Nut Punch.
We're back. European Union's gone and done something stupid, which justifies my vote for fucking Brexit. In an idiot move, they want to control the internet. And they want to control it via Articles 11 and 13. Now, Article 11 is what they refer to as link tax. So if you put a link on your video or Twitter or Facebook or even podcast, you could be charged for that. So you have to pay a fee of sorts that links it. So having news articles shared is now going to become a bit difficult for us living under the European umbrella. And then you have Article 13, which then reviews your stuff to check if everything's right. Hang on, let me explain. You know what fair use is, yeah?
Yep.
I can take
in the States.
No. Fair use is not doing that. Net neutrality is to do with bandwidth, speed, and all that stuff. This is a case of if I use a piece of copyrighted material, doesn't matter how small or large or whatever, I can be charged for using that. So at the moment, everyone tends to operate under the US's a definition of fair use, and the fair use is if it's for review purposes, if it's for critique or lampooning, it's fine. Yeah, if it's a direct upload, no go. Okay, so if I'm talking about a review of a game, so let's say Spider-Man on the PS4, and I put footage of Spider-Man on the PS4 on it, I'm fine at the moment under the current fair use rules. But under the new rules, I have to go and seek permission. Now, what this means is that ISPs, social media things, and video sharing, podcast sharing, all those things will now need to put filters on everything that is uploaded to check for copyrighted content. If they find the copyrighted content isn't been dealt with within an hour, these companies can be fined up to, I think it's like 10,000, 50,000 euros, depending on what the offence is, which is near enough impossible to do. Yeah, YouTube is the closest that it gets to dealing with that, and sometimes it takes 7 days for it to recognise a piece of copyrighted material because it has so much information to process through. This is bad for smaller businesses because if you're like Minds or Gab, who are like newer alternative, I think there's Mastodon or Mammoth or something, which are alternative ones, you have to put this filter in place and you have to pay out for all of these things. But in a very skeptical way of looking at it, this is ripe for abuse, and this could allow governments to, how can I put it, filter out news stories that they don't like via the link tax. And it's like, oh, link tax, oh,
they already
have to pay it. Yeah?
They already can do that. Yes, they can.
How?
Oh, yes, they can.
They're talking governments, not...
Yes. Have a look at how many sites have been banned in the UK under the legislation that they used to ban the Pirate Bay. Have a look.
Yeah, no, but there's a difference between a website doing something wrong and you posting a link to a newspaper article. So right,
this
before we
is an extension of laws that are already there.
Just about to go on something. It's going to be cool. It's going to be cool. All right. Me and you had an argument before we started about Serena Williams and tennis, yeah? And I sent you a link from the New York Times showing the helicopter, showing the amount of times that male tennis players get fined and penalised versus women tennis players, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Because I was desperate to try and settle an argument, yeah? So I said that. So say we didn't have that conversation like this over Skype, and we had it over Facebook, and I sent you that link, yeah? I, or Facebook, would have to pay in order for me to share you that data. See the difference?
Yes.
Yeah? Because before banning a web page, fair enough, ban a web page.
Government can and have banned certain political websites.
Yeah,
under the same legislation.
Yeah, I know, and I'll be honest with you. If you want to see a censorship, if you've got a YouTube channel that you put videos on, check to see if your video is available in Germany. Because on our Gaming Face Punch or previous things, lots of our videos weren't allowed to be shown in Germany. Go figure. Because the German government are trying to revive the Third Reich in a different form, I think, which is devastatingly scary. So that link tax thing would stop that there. Plus, if you put a piece of offensive content up, and we're talking about Web 2.0 stuff. You remember when they were talking about Web 2.0, where you go somewhere and they publish the stuff for you? So Facebook would publish your blog bits, and YouTube would publish your video bits, and Podbean, for example, would publish your podcast bits. So we wouldn't have to do the hosting and all that stuff. Remember that Web 2.0 stuff? That stuff is everything that would be in that bracket of Web 2.0 is going to get fucked. Yeah, we're talking about small blogs and stuff will now have to have their content reviewed before it goes up by either a person or a machine.
What about all the people that have WordPress sites hosted on ISPs?
If it's done via the WordPress system, then yeah. If it's done via they put their WordPress onto the site, then they have to do it. They have to be responsible for it, because if it's not and it's up for an hour, that's 10,000 euros out of pocket for that one article. It's a weird power grab, yeah? And there was some idiot in the European Union, yeah, who was cheering this, yeah? And then when he was quizzed about it, you fuck all about what he was voting on. Apparently his assistant knew more about what he was voting on than he did. So naturally, memes. That was a great one. Memes, because technically you're using some copyrighted material of some sorts, yeah? Yeah, Admiral Akbar, it's a trap, yeah? Imagine that, you've got, what's it, Article 13 and 11, yeah? It's a trap with a picture of Admiral Akbar and that swirly background that you get for memes, yeah? That's now illegal. That gets searched, checked. Are you going to pay LucasArts? No, it doesn't go up. That's what it's turning into. And what will happen is you'll get Google and all these sites, they'll turn around and say, we're not operating in Europe, because Spain has tried this and so has Germany. And what did Google do? They went, this was Google News, if I remember correctly, because they aggregate the news, so they link to all these bits. They turned around and said, we're not going to operate. So we're going to get a point where they're not going to operate. Yeah? YouTubers in the States who get lots of views in Europe will find that their views have disappeared because Google will sit there and say, we're going to block out the continent of Europe because it's just fucking easier for us to do this. Yeah, we're trying to follow the rules it is. And part of me goes, I can imagine the absolute nightmare it would be to monitor the volume of content that's going into YouTube for every minute in YouTube's history, 36 hours of video footage it's uploaded. 36 hours for every minute that passes. That's a hell of a lot of video. That's a hell of a lot of storage space.
But they have the algorithms to run a rough check at the processing point to check for...
Only people come close. And this is the really annoying thing. It barely fucking works. It barely works. We were hit by a content ID claims from, what was it, Konami? For a video we did just talking about Metal Gear, because I used a bit of footage from it. And it was like uneven. And it doesn't make any sense. And it's really annoying because this saying, hey, you can't do links without being charged and you can't load copyrighted material without prior permission. The thing is, the other thing too is if you do get prior permission, there's an example, I think, who was it? There's a guy who was copying people's videos, uploading it onto his YouTube channel, and then using the content ID strike against the people who originated that video. So there are people out there fucking abusing it. The European, it's a power grab. Yeah. Hey, ministers, would you like more power? Yes. Voted through. Done. That's how it goes. Yeah. If you turn around and say, hey, we're going to restrict your power. Oh no, can't have that. Yeah. Seriously, every government in the world, doesn't matter who it is, doesn't matter if it's the fucking Americans, the European, the British, Australians, whatever. You offer them power, yeah, we'll have more power.
I don't think you're right about Google not operating in Europe. You just have to look at what they've done in Russia.
I think that they've shut services down in Spain and Germany.
What they've done in
for
Russia
their new services
is phenomenally wrong. And nobody's talking about that because we're all talking about this.
Yeah, because in the grand scheme of things, Russia's not as important as fucking Europe.
No, it's the president they've set.
Oh, then you go to China.
Yep.
And you go to see what Google did in China. And then you can go to what Apple's doing in China.
What I'm saying is, I think Google is going to do exactly what they're told by the European Union.
I don't think so.
I do.
I don't think so. Given the fact that I think what they'll do is they'll start off by shutting services down. They'll shut down a ton of services first, and then they'll probably bring them online one by one. But what you'll do is
they will not let go of Europe. It's too much money, and all they care about is money. That's why they didn't pull out of Russia. Google removed. For those who don't know this, Google removed almost all links to Putin's political opponents. Now, just think about that. Google removed...
Hang on a second. Right. Stop for a second. Who in Europe would benefit from some kind of system like that?
European Union.
Yeah.
No. But that's what I'm saying. I don't know who I distrust more. Because right now, I have a serious distrust of Google. Because if they can do that... I don't want to use any of their services. I have to use YouTube because that's what my thing is. But I'm not using Gmail. I'm not using any of their other fucking services. Fuck off. I'm even slowly switching to different search engines because their search engine isn't that great anymore.
Do you know what? I've been using Bing and it's not that bad.
Yep.
It's not that bad. It really isn't. I thought it was terrible when I used it ages ago, but I've started using it and it's a bit closer. But think that they'll just come back to this. The other thing that's really annoying
me, sure where I fall on this.
It shouldn't be in place. That's it. It shouldn't be in place. I don't think they understand that the internet is designed to survive a nuclear war, and policing it.
I understand that. What I can't get out of my head is that I think Facebook, YouTube, and all of these companies should be more responsible for the content that's on their platforms. And I do think there should be some legislation there. I do.
I'll be honest with you. I'm the opposite.
Because I see social media and the ability for any person to publish whatever they want at any time dangerous.
Why?
Because I think we're human and it can be abused. And it is being abused in the worst possible way.
Keith, what makes you think that if we left it to journalists that they wouldn't abuse what they're doing as it is? And we know that they're lying, and
we know that yeah, but
stuff.
modern media, yes. It's not an easy one, and I don't know enough yet to say on a podcast that's going out how I feel about this.
All right, it goes like this, yeah. When it comes to social media, the best way to describe it is it's a public square. Yeah, remember the old days? Towns, they had public squares. Yeah, and you in the UK, you were allowed to walk into the public square, put down your soapbox, stand on your soapbox, say what you had to say, regardless of how fucking crazy you sounded. The end of the world is nigh, blah, 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 buy this, buy that nonsense, yeah?
But you didn't have the power then to swing elections. A man on a soapbox in the middle of a town square couldn't change the course of an entire country.
Hang on a second. You doing this the fucking Russian interference nonsense?
No. It's more than that. And it's not, it's more than that. I'm not talking about the Russian interference. That is one aspect of it, but it's not just Russian interference. It's everything to interference. And I don't know. I genuinely do not know how I feel about this, because I see arguments on both sides. I like freedom of speech because I come on this podcast every week and I spout my mouth off, and I do not want to be prosecuted for what I say. But I'm not sure that I should be allowed to do that. And I can't quite yet articulate an argument for that, because I'm not sure.
Well, why you shouldn't be allowed to talk? Right. This is one thing I like about the modern day era. We get occasions and bits of citizen journalism, yeah, because you now have a phone in your pocket, as I drop mine on the table, a phone in your pocket which is capable of broadcasting to everyone on the fucking planet. Yeah?
Yeah.
How awesome a bit of technology is that? You see something that's happened, which is important, and you can film it.
And I'm not sure that that's good for humanity.
Why? Would you prefer someone lie? Would you prefer to see the evidence?
No, this is what I'm saying. I'm not 100% convinced that it's something that's been in the back of my head for weeks now, and the more I see certain things and public opinion. Here's what I know, right? So in the 1970s and 80s, before we had the ability for anybody to publish anything they want, the media went through certain checks. Not all the time, but a good deal of the time. There was a system in place that wasn't foolproof, but it wasn't entirely... There was some regulation there. And if somebody did print something that was to be considered fake news, I hate the term fake news, but something that wasn't true, they could face a hell of a lot. There would be a lot of problems for that. Anybody now can post anything they like anywhere, publish it, and I'm not sure that's a good thing. It's like those kids that did something when they were younger, and we grow up, we change as we get older. What we did as kids, if we had the ability to look back, you and me, when we grew up, we didn't really have the internet, not until we were at college. Look at some of the things we used to say as kids. We don't believe that now. Yet there are people using that against these. That kid last year, that YouTube star that did something really stupid a few years ago, but you can tell he's a different person to that person he was 3 years ago. Because you are. You naturally, you go through experiences in life. And having that ability to publish those views then, and then those views be used against you for the rest of your life, is not a good thing. And that bothers me. This is what I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying. Right. I'm just saying,
okay,
I'm not.
All right.
I'm uneasy about this.
Right. You've said enough. It's my turn now, because you kind of meandered that. All right. First fact. Yeah. Humans are flawed individuals who make mistakes.
Yes.
Yep. And we should accept that of everyone. Full stop. Yep. People make mistakes. Okay. You're not always free from consequences, but we accept that you make a mistake. That's the first thing. Second thing is, the media would love to give you the impression that they were always right before the internet. No, stop. Before the internet, yeah? I'll give you an example. Joe McCarthy. You know Joe McCarthy?
Yeah.
What's Joe McCarthy famous for?
No, I know the name, but remind me.
Right, okay. Joe McCarthy apparently went after people in Hollywood for being communists.
Yes. Now I know what you're talking about.
Yeah? Do you know the truth behind Joe McCarthy? Joe McCarthy went after people in the military for being communists and didn't go anywhere near Hollywood. But somehow Hollywood have lied to you. And they carry on lying to you. Because all you have to do is just look at the declarations and the things that he did, and not one person in Hollywood. He was after people in the army. He was after people in the intelligence service. He was after people in whatever the FBI was at the time. Yeah, he wasn't after people in Hollywood. It was never Joe McCarthy's thing, and they lied to you, and they carry on lying to you. And it's a very easy one to check. It's one of those things, and they lie to you, and there are things that we've been lied to about. Yeah. And you put a lot of power into the hands of a few individuals.
Yes.
That's not right. People should be allowed to make, and that's it. People should be allowed to make mistakes. It's like, how can I tell what fake news is if I don't get to see it? Alex Jones. I don't believe a single word that Alex Jones says, but I found him the most fucking entertaining person ever to watch. I saw him wear the head of a donkey, claiming that he was part of Operation 666, only to pull the head of the donkey off and to have a lizard face underneath. That is brilliant comedy. I don't know if he was intending to do it or not, but that is brilliant comedy. But if I don't see things like that, how am I supposed to recognise things that are not? People should be treated as adults. People should be allowed to make their own mistakes and their own choices. We shouldn't assume things about people unless we have some kind of evidence.
Yeah. In an ideal world.
No. If you look at it is. I'm sorry. If you choose liberty or you choose security, and if you choose security, you don't get liberty or security. Yeah. This stuff, right? The American Constitution is a brilliant document. Yeah. I've only read like the headers of everything, but just the headers alone, and then figuring out that these are all based off of British philosophers like John Locke and people like that. These are things that we should be going for.
Influence.
There's bits from Magna Carta too, but there's theories. There's John Locke's like treatises, or I think is it him? Somewhere might be getting confused with someone else. I'm not as well read on that as I'd like to be, but having that understanding that people are flawed and they should be allowed to be left to their own devices.
I agree with you.
I think,
but it is used too many times for nefarious intentions.
Okay, how many dictators has the UK had?
None yet.
How many dictators has the US had?
None yet.
Okay, and our rules are based off of them. Yeah. Now let's look at France. How many dictators for France have they had? How many dictators for Germany?
Yeah, but that again is an arguable thing that the UK
How many dictators for Spain? How many dictators for Italy? Because they don't have those rules and they don't understand that people
do have those rules now.
No, they don't. They don't. That's why things like this. Not quite.
Yeah, hang on. Right, technically, if you're comparing that to the European Union, then actually, technically, until March of next year, the UK still fall under that.
The European Union isn't a democracy. Is the first thing.
Yeah, no, that's yes and no.
No, it's not. Not even doesn't even remotely resemble it. Yeah.
Do you or do you not vote for an EMP or whatever they know?
EMP? I don't want an EMP.
Well, a European Member of Parliament, so they are an EMP effectively. An MEP, whatever they call him.
Right. Okay. Can you tell me what powers those MEPs have?
I can't. No.
Can they propose legislation?
Probably not.
Can they block legislation?
No.
Yes, they can. That's the one thing they can do. that was a trick. Okay. All right. So what
I genuinely don't know, but you do.
Let me just explain to you quickly. Yeah. Mm. You have the European Commission, which is a group of unelected people that sit above. Yeah. They create the policies. They then go down to the MEPs to then vote on. Yeah. They vote on it. If it doesn't pass, it goes back up. And this is the bit that gets me. Yeah. Yep. It then goes back down until they vote the way they want them to. And it keeps going back down until they vote the way they want. There's no thing saying 3 strikes and you're out. You get 3 sets of amendments and it goes. They just keep putting the policies back down again until they get the vote that they want. It's a weird tyranny. It's a tyranny, I think. And the funny thing is that apparently none of them know what they're voting for. They're getting paid hundreds of thousands of pounds a year.
I've seen those videos on YouTube as well. I know the videos you're talking about. I know what videos you've been watching as well.
All right. Hang on. Did you watch the one about the Tower of Babel and the Whore of Babylon?
Whose site was that on?
I can't remember. Some Australian guy.
No.
Mr. Gunk or Fully Sourced or something along those lines. And he was looking into the symbolism of the European Union. Yeah. And in the European Union, they have their building. I think it's the Strasbourg building. Is based on the towers of Babel. Yeah.
Are you talking about the one with the weird fucking?
It's the big circular one that looks almost incomplete.
It is a bit odd.
That's must. And the other one is the Whore of Babylon. Yeah. Now the Whore of Babylon riding the Bull of Europa. Now, if you've listened to Stephen Fry's Mythos, like I have, and you should have done too, Keith, the story of Europa and I can't remember the fucking bull's name, where he lies about about an impending doom, and he just carries her off and has his way with her. That's a wrong symbol to have for your fucking parliament. That's saying something. Oh, we're going to stop wars. Yes, we're going to make all the trade deals and all this stuff. Yeah, and then we're going to fuck you. And that maybe is intentional. Maybe they just want to show us, that there.
I suppose one of my issues is that I don't know. I feel very uneasy, and I can't quite put my finger on all of it. But I know what you're saying about these articles. I mean, the link thing is a bit ridiculous, but at the same time, copyright. I've seen quite recently a lot of people stealing other people's YouTube videos and reposting them on their channel, and I'm not sure that's incredibly fair. I think if you create something, somebody else shouldn't just be able to use it.
It comes to, was it transformative? Yeah, because if you transformed that, yeah, that's it.
Sorry,
because people have done that all the time. Because if you do that, then think of all the things. Think of like the Star Trek stories that have come from fucking the 1950s novelizations and stuff. Yeah, they get thrown away. Think about remaking fucking War of the Worlds. That gets thrown away. All these things. Yeah.
No, it doesn't. Because when you remake War of the Worlds, you apply for the ability to make it. There is copyright on the War of the Worlds from the H.G. Wells estate, and you have to apply for that.
The problem is that those copyrights originally expired between 14 and 25 years after the thing. No, hang on, wait. They did they did up until I think it was 60 something. And Disney got the ability to extend.
The internet is actually the only place where there aren't copyright laws and we can say anything we really want on a podcast without being prosecuted. And I'm not convinced that's
Hang on a second. We should be able to say anything we want in real life without being prosecuted.
No, within reason. If it's slanderous, no, you shouldn't.
No, when it comes to it's yeah, but I never say anything fucking slanderous.
You can't be done for slander on a podcast at the moment.
Yes, you can.
Nope, you can't. It is the one place at the moment you still can't be.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I know there's some weird laws around. There was some weird, unless it's recently changed. There's some weird laws around podcasts.
I thought that it's not slander. It's
not broadcast.
No, it still counts because it's the same as writing an article down.
No, so I heard someone say something. There's weird. There's something around a podcast that you. It's not the same as if you went and said it on TV. Or on the radio.
There's a clear difference between that. But if someone heard you say it, so like Joe Rogan, he's got a massive podcast. He's got one of the biggest podcasts in the world. Joe Rogan said something.
For slander. I might have got that slightly wrong, but there are certain things that you can do on a podcast that you couldn't do on a radio. You're not under any of the British broadcasting rules.
You're not under. If we're in the States, we'd be controlled by the FCC, the Federal Communications something.
Not podcasts. Podcasts don't fall under any of the.
Yeah, I know that.
Sorry, people. I just kicked over a bottle. I'm really sorry. Really unprofessional. I'll try and edit that out. Podcast doesn't fall under broadcasting rules, and broadcasting regulations are quite tight, whereas podcasts are not. Yeah,
I know that, but it still counts. It's like if you put a blog up and you slandered someone in the blog, you could still get done for that. It would be under different rules, but you'd still get done for it. A lie's a lie. Doesn't matter how you dress it up.
That's in print, and rules around print.
That's a libel one. And
have a look. It's weird. There's some weird rules around podcasts.
I don't think that's the same in the UK. I think the UK's rules are a lot fucking stricter.
I think
they are a lot stricter.
If What's His Face had done what he'd done in a podcast, I'm not sure hate crime legislation currently covers podcasts.
No, it would cover that.
I've got to check that one out.
It would because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter with those. That's the problem with it, is the fact that it can be anywhere. Anyway, right. I think we've spoken enough about this. Let's draw a line under it because it's not pleasant.
No,
that's
sorry.
what Debbie Downer.
I know, this is what I was complaining about earlier. If you want to be happy, don't go and watch the 1st. Just don't do it. Go and look on. I think it's on Vimeo or one of the sites. Have a look at the journey from the Earth to the Moon. If you want to be inspired, you want to feel good about yourself, go and watch that because it's still fucking awesome, and it's got Tom Hanks in it. And you can't hate Tom Hanks. You just can't. Is that how we're ending it?
Do you know what you should do? Go get Kennedy's speech and put it at the end of this. The one where it's like we choose not to do it because it's the easy thing, which is because it is the hard thing.
Yeah, then we'll get sued for copyright.
Not yet. Article 13 doesn't take effect yet. I think that's in public. That should be public domain because he's a public figure.
Might be, actually. I'll have to check it out.
Sure, it's public domain. No one owns fucking Winston Churchill's speeches. Put it on because it's a great speech. It really is a great speech.
No, I think it's a good idea.
I listen to it. I've got like a set of inspirational things I listen to, and that one speech is in my inspirational bits.
One of the best speeches ever made.
And on that note, it's bye-bye. Say goodbye, Keith.
Goodbye. Goodbye, Keith. Goodbye.
William Bradford, speaking in 1630 of the founding of the Plymouth Bay Colony, said that all great and honorable actions are accompanied with great difficulty, and both must be enterprised and overcome with answerable courage. If this capsule history of our progress teaches us anything, it is that man in his quest for knowledge and progress is determined and cannot be deterred. The exploration of space will go ahead. Whether we join in it or not, we mean to be a part of it. We mean to lead it. For the eyes of the world now look into space, to the moon, and to the planets beyond. Our leadership in science and industry, our hopes for peace and security, our obligations to ourselves as well as others, all require us to make this effort, to solve these mysteries, to solve them for the good of all men. There is no strife, no prejudice, no national conflict in outer space as yet. Its hazards are hostile to us all. Its conquest deserves the best of all mankind. We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that challenge is one that we're willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone, and one we intend to win.